The doctor is saying that the research shows that adolescents who play video games on regular basis are 3 times as likely to develop carpal tunnel syndrome as are adolescents who do not play video games. Federal legislation has that proposes to prohibit the sale of video games to minors, if implemented, would reduce to curb this painful wrist condition amongst adolescents. The doctor's conclusion depends on which of the following assumptions. Now tell me, what is the conclusion here? What is the conclusion?
If the law is passed, then the problem would be reduced.
Federal legislation that proposes to prohibit the sale of video games to minors, if implemented, would curb the situation. Yes, any doubts on this? This is the conclusion. So if there is a legislation which is passed which prohibits the sale of video games to minors, if implemented, so first of all the law should be passed, and the law should be implemented. You'll understand how this word made the difference, would help to curb this painful wrist condition amongst adolescents. The doctor's conclusion depends that this will help depends on which of the following assumptions. This is the question here. Yes, anybody? Any?
So B.
B. Okay.
Sir, option D.
Option D.
Could be A
Pick up.
also, I think.
A. See, I told you. First of all, the law should be passed. And then the law should be implemented. Think on those lines. I give you 30 seconds. Think about it. It's very interesting. Yes, folks.
Sir,
Yeah.
A.
A. Okay. Think about this way, that the law is passed. The law gets passed. And it's implemented also. Sale of video games to minors is prohibited. Okay. Now think about a situation. Go for option D. Most parents would refuse to purchase video games for their adolescent children. Say something like this happens. That fair sale of video games to minors is prohibited. But the parents say, okay, fine, you need a video game? I'll go to the shop and purchase it. This can happen or not? The shopkeeper has got a prohibition in place that he cannot sell video games to minors. It's as per the law of the country. But if the parents, either the father or the mother, goes that he knows that he or she knows that, okay, my son or daughter needs a video game, and this law doesn't give him or her to purchase a video game. So tell me the name, and I'll go and purchase it for you. That can happen or not? And if that happens, then this doctor's conclusion that painful wrist condition will go away, will it survive or not? This will be weakened, right? So if I negate this, most parents would not refuse to purchase video games for their adolescent children. If this happens, then what is going to happen? This is going to persist. The conclusion is weakened. So our option is D. Answer is D. Now option A. The majority of federal legislators would vote for a bill that would prohibit the sale of video games to minors. See, a law is passed. They are saying that this is an extra sentence. That if the law is passed, federal legislation has proposed to prohibit. So if a law is made and implemented, obviously it has to be passed by majority. So it's something that I can never pick. Not all adolescents who play video games on a regular basis suffer from carpal tunnel syndrome. I mean, it's making no sense to me because the argument itself is dependent on the chances of high. Playing video games is not the only way. Anyway, doesn't make sense. So these are all gone. The regular playing, okay, by adolescents do not produce such beneficial effects, hand-eye coordination, etc. So D. Facts. Playing video games leading to a condition which is some carpal tunnel syndrome. This is the conclusion. This is what is happening. These are the two. One second. Play video games. This is the fact one. The next fact is leads to carpal tunnel syndrome. Fact 3, there is a federal legislation which is getting passed. Conclusion is, if passed, this will solve this problem.